Welcome to NLS Tube. This is my new YouTube channel where I'll be talking all about the Vanarama National League South, research for Football Manager, and my journey where I'll be cycling to every National League South ground this season. And this is the start of that vlog series. As well as vlogging my journey while I attempt to cycle to every single National League South ground, I'll also be featuring loads of news and reviews all about the National League South. So there'll be team reviews, player profiles, predictions, stadium guides, and more throughout the whole series. So hopefully that's something that's of interest to you. So let's kick off by looking at why it is I'll be cycling to each of the National League South grounds this season. It's certainly a question me and my wife have been wondering recently, so let's get to it. So this season I thought I'd do something slightly different, and instead of driving to all of the games to carry out the research, I'm actually going to cycle to every single non-League South ground. I don't think I've managed to visit every ground in one season, though that's partly down to the pandemic and the season being shut down early. But this season I'm going to be riding from Crawley to each of the grounds. Some of those are easy, like Dorking Wanderers, it's 16 miles away, can't wait to do that one. And some are slightly more arduous, like Bath City, which is about 140 miles, or a 2-day trip, or my personal hell, depending on how you want to look at it. There are two main reasons why I'm cycling to every ground in the National League South this season. The first, at the risk of making me sound like the absolute worst quinoa eating, Hessian sandal wearing, underwater basket weaving Guardian reader, is that I was listening to an episode of the Guardian Football Weekly podcast. It was a special on sustainability, specifically sustainability in football, and it featured among others Dale Vince, who's the owner of Forest Green Rovers, widely recognised as the most environmentally responsible football club in the world. And this episode was all about what can football do to improve sustainability within the game. At a time when scientific reports make it sound like the future of the planet is going to be like a bad day in Venus, it seems like I should be doing my bit, and we should all try and do our bit to be a little bit sustainable. I'm not exactly Captain Planet here, but it seems like if we can all do our bit, then that's got to be a good thing. And the second reason I'm doing this is to try and raise funds and awareness for a really worthwhile charity. So we've partnered with Prostate Cancer UK on this. Prostate Cancer UK do a lot of really great work to fund research to help prevent deaths from prostate cancer. So apparently the statistic is 11,000 men die each year from prostate cancer, and that's why it's a really worthwhile charity and one that I'll be supporting throughout the season. We'll be trying to raise some money for them, so the Just Giving link will be in the description for this video. And the other reason I'm doing this, brake squeak. And the other reason I'm doing this is it's just a really fun way to get to new grounds, see different routes, and try and find as many different ways of crossing the Thames that don't involve the Rotherhithe Tunnel as possible. So I'll be going on bridges, tunnels, there's a ferry for one of the trips, there's even the occasional cable car. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll be vlogging every part of the journey, which will eventually become the diary of the descent of man, I'm sure. The Vanarama National League South is proper non-league. It's made up mostly of semi-pro clubs. So these clubs do pay their players like a weekly wage, but not normally enough not to need a second job. It does have some professional clubs, so the likes of Maidstone United and Ebbsfleet United. These are pro clubs, so most of their players are full-time, they train during the week, they get paid, and that's really what the Vanarama National League South is. It's step 2 of the non-league game, so above it is the Vanarama League, but if you look at the whole English football pyramid, it's actually step 6. So you've got Premier League at the top, all the way down through the EFL, then you've got the National League, then you've got the National League South and North. But given that I'm in West Sussex, I only really care about the southern teams. So in the National League South, we've got a variety of teams. I've already mentioned Maidstone United and Ebbsfleet. We've also got Hipster's favourite, Dulwich Hamlet. They're really well supported, average gates of about 2,000 each week. Most people know about them. We've also got other teams like the fantastically named Tunbridge Angels or Concord Rangers. These are much smaller clubs, but they've got a real character and they bring a real vibrancy to the league. There's also small but mighty Hungerford Town. They're a really interesting team. They had a great season last season, and I think they could have a really good season this. And then there's Braintree Town, so home of the dearly departed Keith Flint, and there's a brilliant mural of Keith. Is it mural?
Mural.
And they have a brilliant picture of Keith Flint in their stadium, which I'm really looking forward to seeing this season. Braintree Town, by the way, one of the few non-league teams in the original Champ Manager 96-97 games. So Champ Manager fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. You used to be able to pick up some great free players from them. So probably the most interesting story at the moment is Dorking Wanderers. They're owned by Mark White, owned and managed by Mark White, who's playing his very own version of Football Manager, it has to be said. So he's taken Dorking Wanderers from basically Sunday League in the Crawley District Leagues about 20 years ago. Successive promotions over the years, all the way up to one step away from the highest division in non-league. They're really only 2 more promotions away from the Football League. So I'd say they're probably the most interesting story in the National League South at the moment. So yeah, there's loads of great players in the National League South, and a number of players that I think real football fans, particularly from the EFL, will recognise. So at Ebbsfleet United, we've got Chris Sully, former Charlton right back. He was at the Valley for years. Most EFL fans will know him. We've got Lionel Ainsworth, again, he's played in Scotland and the EFL, and lots of other players that I think people would recognise. But it's really the kind of sort of upward trajectory players that I'm really interested in. The likes of Joe Tomlinson, who used to be captain at Hungerford Town. He then got snapped up by Eastleigh, and he's recently been signed and started playing for Peterborough United in the Championship. So that's a great success story there. We've also got Jonah Younger, who had a brilliant season a couple of seasons ago for Havant and Waterlooville. He's now playing and scoring in the EFL. So there's loads of great players, and it's definitely a well worth division to watch. Well, luckily, you don't have to have great football skills to be a head researcher for Football Manager, which is a good news for me. I'm out of breath. So, as head researcher for National League South, I look after all the research for all 21 clubs in this division. We've also got a team of researchers, we call them assistant researchers, who look after the individual clubs within the division. They're typically fans of the clubs. I don't have researchers for every single club, but I've got them for the likes of Maidstone United, Welling United, Eastbourne, Borough. It would help if I can remember the names. It's tempting to think that researchers just play Football Manager each day, but really they're experts in their club. They have to research everything from team finances to the latest kit colours, who the captain is, down to the individual players, what their attributes are, how good they are at heading, running, tackling, all of that sort of stuff. They need to capture their appearance and goals data, even down to like when did they make their debut and when did they score their first goal. So these guys are, and they won't mind me saying it, real geeks when it comes to their football clubs. And I think down at National League South, there's a real passion that you might not always get in the Premier League, for example. So I've got a team of about 7 or 8 assistant researchers at the moment. I'm always on the lookout for new assistant researchers. The more researchers I've got, the less work I have to do. So if there's a particular National League South team that you're interested in, if you go there regularly, if you're really into Football Manager, then let me know. I'll let you know if there's a vacancy for that particular club. Your game needs you.
Who are you?
Well, that's a great question, wife. I'm Ryan O'Connell. I live here in leafy Crawley in West Sussex. I'm nearly 40 years old. We've got no kids. No, I'm kidding. We've got 4 kids, and I've got a brilliant job as head of customer success and implementation at a company called Thrive Learning. Whoa. I'm a Gillingham fan first and foremost. I grew up in Kent amongst other places. I've done my time on the terraces there. I was there at Wembley when we lost against Man City back when they were shit. And there at Wembley the following year when we beat the mighty Wigan in an incredible playoff final. So Gillingham's my first true love. But now I live in Crawley. I have to admit I've got divided loyalties. I've been watching Crawley for a few years now, ever since they were a Southern Premier team. So whenever Gillingham play Crawley, as they did last night, it is a case of divided loyalties a little bit for me. So I've been a researcher for Football Manager for a number of years now. I actually started off as a Crawley Town researcher back in 2015, something like that. Did that for a few seasons, and after that I was Bognor Regis Town researcher before eventually becoming head researcher for National League South. So I've been involved in the Football Manager series for a number of years now. Even before then I used to make downloadable face packs for players to enjoy in the game and all of that kind of good stuff. So it's all about Football Manager for me. So keep an eye out, because I'll be posting which grounds I'll be visiting and when it's a ground near you. If you're interested in coming along, then let me know via the comments. I'll be happy to meet up and you can get involved in the video. So if you'd like to join me on my journey, sit back, grab a drink, hit subscribe, and I'll hit the road. Please cycle responsibly.
Good luck. Bye.
Dead end. Wrong way.